each of these teams respond to riding high, big wins. Good crowd here today. A lot of orange in the stands. And so many eyes on Yakachonis.
He is big time guy. I saw him. I've obviously watched him a lot on tape and on TV, but watching him yesterday live in practice, this kid has got it all as a lead guard. Haven't seen a college player understand, read, and execute ball screen offense as well as this kid. So to watch today in this game, just how comfortable he is in any coverage that's thrown at him when he's in the high ball screen or on the side ball screen.
Here he is with it now. Ivicic tosses it to White, and Breidenbach the rebound. Defending the offensive glass is such a key for Washington today.
Well, Illinois, they're one of the best rebounding teams, if not the best rebounding team, not in the Big Ten, but in the country, plus 12.4 rebounding margin. So a big deal for Washington today to keep Illinois off of both boards.
There's Osipor, give it up to Tyree Iheanacho.
Well, here's the thing what happened the other night, and I mentioned in our open about how they controlled the game, Washington. They're not going to walk it up, but once they get into the half court, if they don't have something early, they are going to use a lot of that shot clock and make Illinois guard for the majority of it.
Yakachonis rips the ball and scores.
Well, the other thing Yakachonis has is good size, so he can see over the top of smaller guards, smaller defenders, but just unselfish. He lets the game dictate how he plays. Terrific young player.
Brad Underwood saying he's so impressed with the strength that he arrived with in his freshman year. Offensive rebound for Tyler Harris, and he scores for Washington.
It's good to get Tyler Harris going here this afternoon. Second leading scorer for Washington has proven he can have big nights on the offensive end. Again, he may need one here this afternoon for UW to win.
Averages 12 a game. He didn't score the other day.
No.
In the victory. Here's Kylan Boswell at a triple-double 2 games ago, and then played well against Oregon. Another defensive rebound for the Huskies.
Well, we've only played 2 minutes, but you get the sense that Washington is doing the same thing, that they're getting back in transition, not letting Illinois score early. The other night, Illinois guy scored 33 points in under 7 seconds on the shot clock.
Oh.
That's a lot of scoring in under 7 seconds.
Well, Brett Underwood, he has got a team. He has put together a whole new team this year from the group that went to the Elite Eight last year. A whole new team for the most part. And right now, Don, it feels like people are not afraid to put a very high ceiling on this group.
No, and there's another good read by Yakachonis. And here's the thing, and you could probably say this about any team in the country because of the portal now. I think this is the time of year where players and teams start understanding role definition, where they're going to get shots, what their role is on both ends. And I think Illinois is kind of settling into that now, that they're understanding how they're going to play. They want to play fast, but getting everyone involved. And obviously Yakachonis is running that and getting everyone involved.
First foul on Kylan Boswell. The team beat Oregon by 32 on Thursday, then practiced in Eugene Friday, flew here on Friday. But they've been away from home since New Year's Eve. That's when they made the trip out from Champaign to Eugene.
We knew that, guy, when the Big Ten got expanded, that this was going to be what road trips look like.
Boswell creates an offensive board. Then Humrickhouse gets it into Trey White. And he scores.
Now, the thing that's interesting about how Illinois plays offense is you have to stay attached outside because everyone can shoot. So what does that do? That opens up lanes for driving. That opens up lanes for cutting. And Trey White, not a big-time three-point shooter. He's the one guy that kind of slashes through there and gets buckets like you just saw.
Great Osipor fouled by Ivicic, his second team foul. For all that Brad Underwood has accomplished and is accomplishing. I know you're very high on the future here with Danny Sprinkle.
Yeah, and got his first Big Ten win the other night, and I think it's just starting. Danny Sprinkle, a great hire for Washington. You know, it's difficult now in this landscape of college basketball. Your first year when you're bringing in a whole new system, whole new way of doing things, and then bringing in all new players. But you wonder if that win the other night gave this Washington team a lot of confidence.
Yakachonis has that tracked down by Zoom Diallo.
It's a good matchup. Diallo had a big night the other night, 18 points, and really carried him down the stretch with his offense in that ball screen. They were playing drop coverage. He lived at the elbows the other night.
The shot clock low and slipping and turning it over is Louis Courtright off of the Husky bench. Zoom Diallo, just like Yakachonis, very highly touted. A lot of anticipation for him as a freshman. What have you seen from his early
I think
career?
Settling in like a lot of freshmen. You know, he's not really a point guard, but he can play on the ball. He's more of a scoring guard, and I think Danny Sprinkle and his staff kind of have recognized that, look, we don't want him to be a facilitator. We want the ball in his hands making plays, and that's for himself and others.
Evie Sitch with a nice move.
This Illinois team's just so hard to guard because of their ability to. You'd rather give up that guy. You'd rather give up a 2 than 3s all night. Oregon will tell you that. They gave up 16 threes. But when they're spaced out like that, you can't cover everything. So what do you give up? And sometimes, like you saw there from Evie Sitch, it's going to be a layup instead of a 3.
Iheanacho, clean look at a 3, can't connect.
That's the one thing Washington, you hope, gets better at, is they're not a very good three-point shooting team. They're not a very good foul shooting team. But what's interesting is they made free throws to close that game the other night against Maryland.
First foul on Washington. It's on Luke.
Any of those games either.
These were the scores. There was a 3-game stretch. You make a trip that long in 1927, you play 3 games.
Wasn't on an airplane.
It was not televised either. And those are the scores. The first to 32 basically won.
It's a great old building. Changed since I played here in the late 80s, early 90s. Beautiful place now. Not that it wasn't then, but had to expand it, had to modernize it in a terrific college basketball venue.
It's amazing. That was the first games played here, the dedication of this arena, and it's the last time Illinois was here. They have not been back since.
A lot of first times this weekend in the games that you and I have been on.
DJ Davis off the Washington bench throws that off of Will Riley, who's come into the game along with the very talented freshman to join him, Morez Johnson, part of a really good freshman class here at Illinois.
God, we could spend this whole game talking about Illinois' offensive and defensive metrics. That's how good they are, and they've just swarmed people defensively. They have all these 50-point wins, 30-point wins, and they just, when they're right, they get it and they are gone. Here's Riley pushing it.
Over a 3-minute scoring drought for the Huskies.
So even if you try and slow it down by making them guard in the half court, if you miss, they are running it right back at you.
Makai Mason
Defense
by Yakachonis. Here's Humrickhouse. Ossibor broke it up, and Mason's out in front. Gibbs Lawhorn comes over and denies him, but is whistled for the foul. Oh my goodness. What?
Pretty good sequence there, and there you see the mentality of the Illinois defense. No freebies. And Gibbs Lawhorn, he just, you know what, I might foul you, but you ain't dunking it. That's for sure.
At 6'1". Gibbs Lawhorn, this is the key return. This is the guy that played in the rotation last year on an Elite 8 team, so he knows what it's supposed to look like.
He's the captain of the team. And, you know, not one of the major contributors on the offensive end, but as you take a look at their defensive ranks, you know, when you see a team scoring 109 on the road at Oregon, you just think offense. But something has to fuel that offense, and it's this defense. Elite rebounding team, so they're not taking it out of the net a lot when other teams are getting second chance opportunities. Pretty complete team, this Illinois team.
By the KenPom metrics, they're a higher rated defense than offense. They're 15th in offense, 7th in defense. Yakachonis has it knocked away, but Johnson tracks it down.
Ossibor with those long arms and big hands, hard to get it over him.
Yakachonis loves to shoot off the dribble. Johnson stepped out.
Well, here's the thing, guy. And again, if you're a Washington fan, you have to be encouraged. I thought rebounding, especially defensive rebounding, would be a problem against Maryland the other night, and it really wasn't. But that doesn't mean Ossibor, he had 14, but everybody was in there, all 5 on the defensive glass, and it's going to have to be that way again here this afternoon because Illinois, I think, is a better rebounding team than Maryland is.
Jake Davis guarding the ball for Illinois. He had a big first half against Oregon with 12 points. Touch won't fall for Iheanacho. Washington 4 of 11, or pardon me, 1 of 10 to start this game.
And that's the thing, guy. You know, you plan for Yakachonis and Evie Sitch and these guys, but then a guy like Davis comes off. Humrickhouse, like, what hole do you plug?
fouls on Iheanacho, his first, second team foul for Washington.
His first foul of the game, second team foul.
Illinois started 0 of 7 from 3 against Oregon on Thursday, then made 16 of their last 22 three-pointers.
You're probably going to win the game at that point. I don't know if you're going to win it by 30 every time, but you're going to win the game.
Asabor
So good at that.
the turnover.
He is so good at getting his hands on those balls, digging out 50-50 balls. It's shocking when you see him in person, if we can maybe get a shot of that at some point, how big his hands are. Look, there he goes again.
Wow. Tyler Harris scores.
Well, that's how it's going to have to be. They're going to have to dig out. They're going to have to get possessions where they get stops and get out and get easy ones so that Illinois can't get back and get that lethal defense they have set.
Trying to weather the early storm from Illinois. Ivicic hits a three.
He can do that, and that's what really sets this Illinois offense apart. When you're five-man, you know, not make one or two a game. Like, he is a threat from out there. You have to close to him, and that just spreads everything out even more.
He's 38%.
Yeah.
I know you were asked the question, is he really 7'1"?
He is really 7'1".
Gives Lawhorn. Ivicic gets tripled, and Huskies take it away.
You see what they tried to do. 3 on the last possession, tried to post him on the switch that time. Just couldn't get it in there.
Just throw it up. Asabor.
Usually pretty reliable on those Asabor. Couldn't get that one to go down.
Gives Lawhorn off the mark.
One of those 7 seconds or less shots for Gibbs Lawhorn.
The book still holds up, huh?
Yeah.
20 years later. There's Makai Mason.
Well, if you think you have better personnel, you want more possessions. If you don't think you have as good a personnel, you want less possessions. And Brad Underwood thinks he's got the best personnel in the country.
Will Riley, the touted freshman.
Yeah, good-looking young freshman. I think just scratching the surface of what he can do offensively. He's had some big moments, but like every freshman, consistency is the thing. I think the more this goes on, the more consistent Riley's going to be, but super talented.
Yakachonis with the interception, and Gibbs Lawhorn lays it in.
Oh, that's the blueprint right there for Illinois. Stop, get out, score quick, get back on defense, try and get another one.
4 turnovers for Washington in the first 8+ minutes.
Which isn't bad, guy, 4 and 8 minutes. Not great, but not bad. But when they get stops and get you to miss, you can't add the turnovers onto that.
A turnover for Washington, number 5. Great Asabor yet to score in this game. Washington trying to survive the early push from Illinois.
Said every way. So there isn't, the point is there's nothing Yakachonis hasn't seen already as Washington goes to their 1-3-1 zone.
And no one's figured it out yet.
No. Because he understands, and he knows he can read it and make the appropriate play. Didn't see any of this 1-3-1 the other night against Maryland.
Tyler Harris has it poked away. Great Gibbs Lawhorn. Pretty good defensive back.
I think a smart play by Danny Sprinkle, similar to what I was just saying about Yakachonis and ball screen coverage. Keep giving Illinois different looks. Throwing the 1-3-1. I saw a 2-3 yesterday they were practicing. Let's try and keep when you have a lethal offensive team like Illinois, just keep giving them different looks.
DJ Davis can't hit the 3. Still cold from beyond UW of 6. Ben Humbrickhouse had a great game the other night. A great game against Oregon to help push his 3-point percentage up higher. Trey White in traffic.
That's what he does. He's so good at that. Started his career at USC, then went to Louisville. Always been a very good downhill driver, slasher, get to contact, finisher.
He's got an early 6 points to lead the way. Iheanacho blocked by Humbrickhouse.
I'd like to see Iheanacho pull up at the foul line, kind of like Diallo was doing the other night. That free throw line's available. Over-penetrated that time and got it blocked.
Humbrickhouse draws the foul on DJ Davis. It's his first and the third team foul.
Foul called on the Huskies, number 4, DJ.
You feel like, don't you guys, that the game isn't real fast right now, like the first 10 minutes? But Illinois is still with an 11-point lead.
Yeah, it almost feels like Washington. If you told them 19 points, what Illinois would have halfway through the first half, they take it, but they haven't shot well enough to take advantage.
But what does that speak to how good the Illinois defense is?
Gibbs Lawhorn has made a couple of great defensive plays, and now he gets his second field goal of the day.
They just hit you from so many different ways.
He had 11 in the first half. The other day, Yakachonis didn't score in the first half, but Gibbs Lawhorn had 11 off the bench.
Well, the thing is that the difference between Washington and Illinois, at least right now, is Osibor has to score as Iheanacho gets the follow for Washington to compete against really good teams like Illinois. Illinois spreads it around. It can be one of it. It's not like Yakachonis has got to get 20 or Ivisic has got to get 20. Like, they just spread it around, and they have so many weapons.
Trey White has it knocked away, but finds Yakachonis. Gibbs Lawhorn.
Just good individual offense that time. Gibbs Lawhorn, a major factor here in the first 11 minutes of this one.
2 days off, a historic win on Thursday, and Illinois just, you wouldn't know if they were coming off a win or a loss, a travel and a turnover for Diallo.
But here's the thing.
Coming up next, a great women's hoops doubleheader tips off with a top 25 showdown between the Terps and the Hawkeyes. Then Juju Watkins leads the 4th-ranked Trojans against the Starlet Knights. It's all ahead only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app.
Iheanacho and Diallo have to shoot those open threes. They just have to. Or Illinois and teams moving forward are just going to stop closing out on you. Osibor, another steal.
But unable to handle it, Tyler Harris kicked it out of bounds. Yakachonis was hounding him.
And that's the difference, just to finish that point, Guy. It's easier to load to Osibor when you know you don't have to really get all the way out to the three-point line. So we'll see how that continues to play out here.
Well, you could hear the sound when Osibor swats the ball out of somebody's hand. It is like a
Surprised he doesn't pop the ball.
anvil dropping. I know. Ivisic, deep position. Second chance.
Wow. 2-point blankers. See, that shot's open right there. They're letting him. Iheanacho's going to have to pull that.
Osibor blocked by Ivisic.
Well, Osibor, one of the best guys in the league at drawing fouls. He gets to the foul line, but everybody now knows that. Everybody, now that we're in Big Ten conference play, the scouting reports become better and bigger. They know he wants contact. Play vertical, make him come into you, and not draw the foul. Nice job by Ivisic there.
Zoom Diallo.
There you go.
And the Huskies
Have
still
to
cannot
Have
hit
to
a
shoot it,
three.
though, Guy. Like, it's wide open. Pass.
Johnson, what a catch. Freshman to freshman.
Watching Yakachonis, and I think watching him yesterday, he's at worst a lottery pick.
There was some question, that game on Thursday was their second true road game of the year. The only other was Northwestern. They lost that game in overtime. So how would a young team handle a long road trip, all that? And they answered those questions emphatically. Hummerkaus with a steal.
I like Riley pushing it. Yakachonis, a good shooter, so you can play him off the ball some, too. Another good pass.
And a blocking foul on the pass. It was trying to take that charge, Louis Courtright, and that's his second foul, 4th team foul.
Washington's number 12.
So it's on 12s trying to step out and take this charge.
And 4th team foul.
Let's see if the defender's feet were in the RA or not. That was the
Number
call.
7, Christian T.
Yakachonis going to inbound it. Hummerkaus hasn't taken a shot
He
yet.
hasn't. He'll take one here, it looks like.
And he gets blocked by Christian King, who just came off the bench.
Here's what's interesting. In talking to Brad Underwood, they have action guys and spacers. And Rickhouse was going to be a spacer, it seemed like, for this Illinois team, but they want him to be more of an action guy so that the floor stays even more spread. And you saw it there. Action guys are the ball in their hand, either in action, ball screen action, or like you said, that booty ball they call it, where you just back the defender down and try and make a play.
11 on the shot clock. Right to Rickhouse for the basket.
It just seems like, I know we got a long way to go. It's Davis from 3. It's easier for Illinois to score at this point than Washington. Washington only 10 points in the first 13 minutes.
Yakachonis has 4 assists. What a touch pass. And Johnson can't hold on to it.
But that's the beauty of Yakachonis. He's not like today's guard. I say today's because it seems like a lot of these really good point guards are scoring guards and facilitators. He's both. He just takes what the game gives him. If he's going to pass all night, he'll pass all night. If they leave him open, he'll shoot all night. Doesn't matter.
I know one thing you love about him is that the simple things aren't always so simple. There's a 3. It breaks the seal. Washington missed its first 8. Louis Courtright gets one down.
Well, you have to understand that running ball screen offense isn't easy, especially for freshmen, because it's not really taught. But in Europe, it's taught. He has been well schooled to play at his own pace, to read whatever defense is thrown at him, and then make the appropriate play. That's high-level stuff that you don't see a lot of here in the United States from young guys. NBA guys, they do it all day. But if you watch him in practice, like I did yesterday, he made the right play every single time.
Travel on Will Riley. Let's look at that last sequence on offense.
A lot of young players in this situation, high ball screen, get sped up and don't make the right decision. Maybe force that up. That was an either or. If he had shot the runner, nobody would have said anything, but dropped it off to Johnson for the easy finish. But just stuff that seemed, when you watch him, it just seems normal, but it's really not for an 18-year-old playing their first year of college basketball.
And for a guy averaging 16 points a game, and there's another 3, DJ Davis.
You feel like, and we talked about it the other night, Guy, that Davis maybe had a breakout the other night. Hit some big 3s in the second half. He's a better shooter than what the percentages say right now, and knocks that one down.
He hit 3 of his 6 in that game.
Bit of a
second
jolt
foul on
here
Gibbs
for
Lawhorn.
UW. Try and get this crowd into it. As you mentioned, Guy, there is a decent amount of orange in here, but a lot of UW fans.
Illinois ranked number 22, but they are now number 5. They were actually ranked higher than Oregon in the net rating going into the game Thursday. Oregon was ranked 9th in the AP poll. Illinois is now 5 in the net rating.
Well, why don't you ask Brad Underwood what he thinks about the rankings? He does not care. He cares about the net and the KenPom. That's all he cares about.
The answer you'll get will be something like, "Don't get me started."
Yeah.
And then he'll get started. And he's right.
Yeah, rankings don't matter.
Trey White?
It's nice for the fan base to say, oh, my team's ranked whatever they're ranked. But when it comes down to it, what we're talking about Davis again, when it comes down to it, when you get to the NCAA tournament like Illinois is seemingly every year, it's about seeding in the NCAA tournament. That's what's most important.
Loudest this crowd has been since the starting lineup.
Good extra.
Jake Davis and Louis Courtright gets fouled by Yakachonis.
It's been a while, Guy. You and I have done games in this building for a long time, and it's been a while since it's gotten rocking. And you stack a win against Maryland on Thursday night with potentially one here. This building has the capability to really get energetic. Like I said earlier, I think Danny Sprinkle's going to get it to that point. May not be this year, but very soon.
Here's Diallo. Now the offense is getting going for Washington.
That's where he operates, that elbow down. And he'll shoot the elbow jumper, pull up, But if he gets another dribble in, he can hit that runner floater game too.
Breidenbach with the steal.
See how important three-point shooting is.
That was a bit of a heat check.
I mean, they've gotten back in the game because Davis has come in and hit a couple threes.
Yeah. Nearly a turnover, but an open look. Hamrick House in and out, and Ivisic there to clean it up.
Well, that's the problem. You got to get out to shooters, and that leaves that paint open. And this Illinois team, offensive rebounds as good as any team in the country.
Well, they're plus 11 right now overall rebounding is Illinois. 22 to 11 on the boards. Diallo foul.
Put so much pressure on the defense, Diallo.
That one's on Trey White, his first and the 16th foul.
So give Washington some credit for how they're defending. They've taken more threes than Illinois. If you told me about that before the game, I would have told you were crazy.
Yeah.
But it just shows you the defensive game planning that now that we're into league play, the teams can really spend time on getting ready for what the other team does well. And obviously Washington not only limiting the number of attempts for Illinois, but the number of makes, only one so far for Illinois.
And they've taken almost the same number of overall shots. So the rate is also, it's not just the raw number that's different. 2 made free throws for Zoom Diallo, who was fouled by Trey White before the break. So a 17-point deficit for Washington is down to 8. White's had a good game so far, but that won't go down. White with 8 points to lead Illinois scoring. Breidenbach tees it up and misses badly.
They run stuff for him for that. They take advantage of that 5-man matchup that doesn't want to go out to the line. He is a capable three-point shooter. Missed that one.
Ball snapping around inside the Ivisic. Breidenbach walling up, and Ivisic is short.
It's the third time Ivisic has missed a point blank in there. He's got to convert those to keep that Washington defense honest.
DJ Davis, his third three of the half.
I'm telling you, I saw it the other night. You can just tell when players who have been struggling make a couple, their body language changes, just they look different. And I'm glad he's followed it up again here this afternoon, making some more.
Yakachonis answers.
I'm sure that guy's not afraid of the moment.
And Illinois is going to take a timeout. It was a 16-8 run from Washington with that Davis three, and most of those 16 points have come off the bench, led by Washington's third three.
So what happens now, Guy? Now that Davis has got it going, now you got to account for him even more than you thought in the scouting report. What does that do? It pushes defense out. That gives more room for Osibor. Yakachonis very good. Among all the other things he does, very good at that step back three. That's a hard shot. We know threes off the bounce are way more difficult than catch and shoot threes. He's very good at that. You saw it there.
Coming up at the half, we'll send it to Mike Hall, Rafael Davis, and Jordan Taylor in our Chicago studios for the halftime report, presented by State Farm.
This is a good answer by UW. It looked like this was going to get away from Washington. 17-point
game 5 minutes ago.
And remember, they were down to Maryland by 3 the other night and won the game. So if they can keep this at minimum under 10, they can feel good about going into the half.
Zoom Diallo, aggressive. And Ivisic 6th board.
Don't mind it, though. He has put, like I said earlier, he has put a lot of pressure on the Illinois defense.
Oh, Yakachonis is feeling it now.
Off the bounce, step back.
He's got 10
now. That's just pro stuff, guy. It just is. I mean, I know the college line's a couple feet in front of the NBA line, but it's just pro.
How is he not going to get a triple-double before the year's done?
I'm sure he will.
Davis, another hit.
I'm telling you, this guy has been a elite shooter. From the foul line and the three-point line, his first 2 stops at Irvine and at Butler has struggled early. but coming on Thursday and following it up tonight.
Trey White draws the foul. Let's look back at that Davis three.
You look at his mechanics. They're flawless. Good elbow. But here's how you know that he is overcoming. We see the step back from Yakachonis. In and out, back to the line. But getting back to Davis, when there's no hesitation, and you watched him earlier in the year, there was a little bit of hesitation, but that goes back to what I was saying earlier about role definition, understanding when it's your turn to shoot, when it's not, decision making. And now it's just he's catching it and letting it fly. There is zero hesitation. That's what I saw the other night.
Rare miss from Trey White, who's 6th in the league in free throw shooting. He's a 90% free throw shooter. Well, DJ Davis keeping Washington in this game.
I'm sure Brad Underwood isn't going to be happy at halftime, even if they do have the lead, because they had a chance to keep this lead, and they've given Washington a lot of hope here with a minute left in the first half.
1 of 2. Zoom Diallo 1 of 5 shooting in this first half for Washington, handling it here. Court right, open look.
Good decision. Just didn't get it to go down. I like the way they're playing offensively, though, Guy. They're shooting threes. They have to, or people are just going to continue to load to Osibor and double him and get it out of his hands. The more they don't have to make all these, they just have to attempt them to make, not just today, but moving forward in the Big Ten. Teams having to account for their three-point shooters and getting out there.
Did Illinois just go 2 for 1?
They may have. I think they go 2 for 1 every possession.
You just never see it at the end of a half in college.
No, you don't.
It really stands out.
You don't. But the way Illinois plays, I don't think it mattered. They're going fast regardless.
Will Riley drew the foul on Tyler Harris, who's committed 2 fouls in 30 seconds. So he sits, he doesn't sit down.
I don't think you'll see a 2 for 1 here. It's too tight, 36 to 30, 6-second differential. I think you'll see Washington take this all the way down.
Great Osibor has not scored. 0 of 5.
And only down 11. I'd say only because if you told me before the game with under a minute to go in the first half, if he hadn't scored, it'd be 25 or 30.
He bats that out, but to Trey White. Shot clock is off. Akachonis sees it.
Did you see Osibor get to that ball, though, how long his arms are? It's unbelievable. Gets his hands on so many 50-50 balls.
Whoa, that's tough. And it nearly goes. But despite that miss, a strong first half for Illinois. Shooting 50% and leading by 11.
Give Washington credit, like we were just talking about. Had a chance to blow it open. Illinois did. They came fighting back, and then an answer at the very end of the half for Illinois.
For Oregon and Eugene, these two teams met for the first time here in 1927. It's the last time Illinois was in Seattle. It was the first games in this building, which has since been renovated, but still has some of its nearly century-old classic charm. And for either team today, I know this wouldn't fall in the category of statement necessarily like beating Oregon was on Thursday, but to get a sweep of the Pacific Northwest would be pretty significant considering it's, there's 2 unbeaten teams in league play left.
And Rickhouse knocks down the long 3. Yeah, we're in league play, guy. You'll take any win at this point, especially on the road. So, yeah, they may not end up winning this game if they do, Illinois, by like how we've seen. But it doesn't matter. A win is a win is a win at this point of the season. Trying to get Osibor started here in the second half. 2 possessions in a row. Scores on that one.
His first basket of the game.
They're not going after him. At least they haven't shown yet, Illinois, that they're going to run a second defender at Osibor. So it may be on him to really carry the load offensively in the second half.
Alan Boswell didn't score in the first half.
By the way, DJ Davis getting the start in the second half.
Well, he had 14 off the bench in the first. Akachonis just going in and committing an offensive foul on Zoom Diallo. It's on Akachonis. It's his second. Game leader sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance.
Well, that's that booty ball I mentioned in the first half. They like a matchup. They go at it. The offensive player turns his back to the defender and tries to make something happen. It's not as easy as that, though. Like, how many players are, and I've said this in the past, how many players are really good with their back to the defender and making a play? But they've had a ton of success with it.
4 threes for DJ Davis, who single-handedly saved this game in the first half, it seemed. Now Diallo travels and turns it over. It's the 8th turnover, the 7th turnover for Washington.
Diallo trying to make something happen, and I mentioned the size of Jonas in that first half. That's why Diallo tried to get to 2 feet and make something happen. He can't go over the top of Jonas.
Humrickhouse finally gives it up to Boswell. Boswell. And there's the rebound for Osibor. Davis gets Ivicic up in the air.
Hesitation.
Gets Humrickhouse up in the air. Finds an open look, but unable to connect is Tyler Harris.
Interesting. Washington isn't using as much clock. Now they're down 12, so maybe that's why, but not using as much clock in the half court as I thought they would.
Ivicic, long miss to Davis.
It's hard to play a slower pace when you're down.
Osibor gets the foul drawn on Ivicic. It's his second foul.
Osibor really good at selling those fouls down there too.
See what he's done today. That basket he hit a moment ago, his first of the game. His 100th free throw attempt of the season. He's under 60%. Just at 56.
Yeah. And that's one area you would hope would continue to go up for him, because he's going to get fouled a lot. Teams aren't going to let him deep post position and score down there, at least not consistently. And if he does get too deep, they're just going to wrap him up and put him on the line. So shooting 56% probably isn't that beneficial to your team.
Boswell, catch and shoot.
Just not shooting it as well, obviously, as they did the other night, but it's hard as a team. 16 for 29. How many nights are you going to do that?
Ivicic with the foul. That's his third. Well, Donna, now that he's got 3, you go back to what kept Washington hanging around Maryland the other night.
Exactly.
Foul trouble.
Yeah, foul trouble, and they were going to Osibor early, and then it was Diallo late. But it doesn't look like Illinois is going to change their coverage. That they're perfectly content to play Osibor straight up. And like I just said the last time, if he's not going to make his free throws, you'll live with him going to the foul line.
Ivicic is coming out for Morris Johnson. Jonas had 10 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds in the first half. And now Boswell gets fouled by Osibor. His first.
Fouls on the Huskies, number 1, Great Osibor. His first foul.
Trying to step out.
First team foul.
And Boswell attacks the body and gets the whistle.
Jonas.
Fine.
Trey White shot it well in the first half. And there's an offensive rebound. Trey White, pretty move.
That's an area we haven't had to talk much about here this afternoon, is Illinois on the offensive glass. Washington's done a pretty good job. At that time, Illinois got a second chance and converted.
Davis. Osibor. who touched it last. Humrickhouse did. It will stay with Washington. And look at Trey White's acrobatics on the other end.
Catches it inside the line so it doesn't go backwards. Goes to the rim in the finish. Kylan Boswell taking the challenge on Davis. You mentioned the 14 first half points, 4 of 8 from behind the line. It is going to be awfully difficult for Davis to get the clean looks he had in the first half.
Diallo. Trey White unattended, and he can't convert. And another offensive rebound for Morris Johnson, who then travels as the defender pulls the chair. It was an 11-point halftime lead for Illinois. It's 10 after the first meeting timeout. By the way, if Visic sat down with a foul during that last sequence, it's his second foul, not his third. Here's Zoom Diallo, who has 6 points in the game. He's done a good job finding others. Morris Johnson.
Illinois knows what an impact he had on the second half offensively against Maryland on Thursday night. So like we were saying with Davis, Illinois understands the scouting report.
Azabor commits the foul, and one it counts.
A heads-up play by Boswell. I don't know if he understood how long Osabor's arms are. That's why he didn't pull the trigger initially. I have a feeling that may have had something to do with it. And it takes the contact, and that's what you do as an offensive player. Get the contact, just put it up there. Worst case, you get the free throws. Best case, you get the and one.
His first points of the day.
Every time it feels like Washington's going to really get back into this thing, Illinois makes a play. Back up to 13.
This game started with Washington ice cold from 3. BJ Davis came off the bench and warmed things up. But it's been about a 10-point game, give or take, since then. Here's Louis Courtright trying to get it on Humrickhouse, and he scores.
Good individual offense that time. Courtright. But again, I think Illinois, they'll live with twos. They know how good their defense is. They don't want to give up threes, especially when you got the lead.
Both teams an identical 5 of 18 from beyond the arc. Yakachonis. Mason on him. Lost it.
Good defense, Mason.
And that pass is knocked away.
Coming right back at you, Illinois.
Boswell blocked by Osobor, but Trey White gets fouled and the basket counts.
Hasn't been a great offensive afternoon for Illinois in terms of three-point shooting and even two-point shooting for that matter, but this is why they're so good. The rebounding, cleaning up misses, getting extra possessions. And their defense, that wasn't really a defensive play there, but they get the turnover, and then they are right back down the court. They're not wasting time. Boswell straight to the rim. Trey White cleans it up.
Well, I think you got to start thinking about, the list of, every team's got a couple headliners, and this team definitely has a couple headliners. The best teams may have 3 or 4, but, that leaves a guy on maybe the next tier in terms of attention that's critical to winning.
Mm-hmm.
And Trey White has been so good on this trip. He's a win. He's proven to be a winning player.
Well, and that's what I've been kind of getting at all afternoon is that where do you plug the hole with Illinois? Okay, you could take Yakachonis out, but there's all these other guys that can hurt you.
BJ Davis now with 16 points. Here's White again. Gibbs Lawhorn, he had a strong first half. And Boswell, the offensive rebound. And Davis gets fouled.
Illinois imposing their will on the offensive glass, getting extra possessions. Washington has to find a way to check these guys off and limit them to 1.
The foul's on the reach there on Iheanacho. Illinois is going to head home, hopefully tonight, with some snowstorm in Champaign. The team may need to stay in Seattle tonight, depending on how things look after this game. But they'll head home and host Penn State and USC. Washington gets the joy of Maryland and Illinois at home, and then the Michigan State trip coming up. Asabor. And he travels.
Good call. Evie-Sitz did a great job of just keeping his ground, staying vertical. And that's the thing with Asabor. He's not a high flyer, as you've seen. He's not an above-the-rim guy. He's got to carve out space. And against length, like Evie-Sitz has, if he can't create that space to get it over, probably needs to throw it out, because that one created a turnover.
Illinois is plus 12 on the boards now. There's Boswell with another basket.
But it's not like they've overwhelmed them.
Yeah.
You know, like you and I both talked about that Illinois is so good on the board that they could really hurt Washington. And they're obviously ahead, but not really, really hurting them, except for these 3 or 4 offensive rebounds they've gotten in the second half.
Iheanacho. Evie-Sitz staying all the way with him. And there's Breidenbach, who takes advantage of the rebound.
Well, they're staying attached for the most part. It's 11. We're getting under 12 minutes here. What's it going to take for Washington to get all the way back in this?
And Gibbs Lawhorn got redirected by Makai Mason and fouled. It's the first on Mason. First trip to Seattle since 1927. And it's going well for the Illini. Coming off 60 home runs. Babe Ruth was still the home run king.
So what you're saying is that was a long time ago.
It was when this building opened. They dedicated the building. It was great seeing some of those photos earlier in the broadcast of the program from that day. Evie-Sitz with 9 points now.
A good sign for him. Missed a couple easy ones in the first half. Was able to finish that one.
You would just think if you picked the program to come out in 1927, you would have scheduled them again in the next century, you know? Good enough to come out for the opening, but not good enough to be invited back.
Or how about, like, Oregon coming up here to play, to open the building? Like, why Illinois?
That's a good question. Will Riley missed that 3, and then it gets knocked out of bounds off of Illinois. Here's the groundbreaking for this building.
And those guys are saying, really, Illinois is coming out here for the first game?
Absolutely. That is cool. And while so much of this building has changed, so much is the same. The spirit is still here in this place.
Those windows have always been there.
Does it feel the same way as when you were here as a player?
No, it feels like there's a Breidenbach knocks down the mid-range. No, it feels like the updated. But I'll say this: what's the same is the acoustics are the same, because the shell of the building's pretty much the same as it was. And so it's when it, to your point earlier in the game, when it gets loud in here, it gets loud.
Just beside the football stadium, big athletic facilities all around, right off of Montlake.
Washington make another push here.
When you were here, the track was underneath the floor.
Underneath, yep. Like a real track, like a running track. Big shot. They needed that. Now they're under 10. That gives them a little more life. The crowd's starting to come alive a little bit. If they can string together some stops here, Washington.
Gibbs Lawhorn quiets the crowd and ignites the Illini fans that are here.
When Evie-Sitz establishes post position down there, they're well aware of it. That opens up driving lanes. Gibbs Lawhorn with the nice finish.
Zoom Diallo asking for the screen.
Pull it. There you go.
Breinbach lost it out of bounds. Gibbs Lawhorn touched it last. So it stays with Washington with 18 seconds on the shot clock.
He does this. They put him in ball screens, and if you're in drop coverage like Evie Sitz was, he's going to make that, or at least attempt it. And knocks that one down and finish on the other end.
Breinbach's got the last 7 points for the Huskies. He's got it here. Davis, that was low.
A little behind him, too.
Diallo can't sneak it in. Akachonis, his fourth board.
You can make it so much easier on yourself, guy, by just playing at the elbow and at the free throw line. That's too deep. It becomes really hard to score.
Basket doesn't count, but Boswell's fouled by Makai Mason. It's his second foul.
And now Illinois in the bonus the rest of the way. So it makes it even more challenging for Washington to come all the way back. Yeah. Could have been a hook and hold, the old hook and hold that was so prevalent a couple years ago.
I remember the hook and hold.
Don't see it very often anymore.
Humrickhouse got his own rebound, and then Breinbach gets whistled for the foul. First on him. And to your point, Don, now we're into free throw range. Take another look.
It's an offensive foul. And Humrickhouse wrapped that left arm around Harris. Officials missed it.
1-and-1 free throw opportunity here for Ben Humrickhouse, his first year at Illinois after 3 years at the NAIA level, and then last year at Evansville in the Missouri Valley. He's from Tipton, Indiana. He told me yesterday it shoot around 6,000 people, 6 stoplights, and the biggest event in town. It's a closely knit town. Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. High school basketball games.
1 stoplight per 1,000 people.
That's right.
What you're saying?
Yep. It was fun talking to him. He's really starting to settle in.
He's going to be a major factor at his size, and we've talked all afternoon here about how Illinois plays offense. If you're a floor spacer at that size, it's hard to close out and get a piece of it because you can shoot right over the top.
That goes down. Davis.
They are finally starting to see the DJ Davis that they thought they were getting at Irvine and Butler.
Boswell draws the foul. This is what Illinois loves to do. For as fast as they go, they're happy to just go to the free throw line.
That style of play we've been talking about with the identifying matchups and then going after them. Boswell that time with his back to Davis got him to commit the foul.
Boswell 77%. Davis now with 5 threes made today. 1 shy of his career high. He's got 19 points. See where Illinois ranks. 3-point field goals the most attempted. 2 points the least. Free throws the most. Free throws and threes.
Isn't Washington the second most free throw attempts in the league? I think they are. So surprised we haven't seen more free throws here, but we still got a ways to go.
Yeah, depending on what day. I think they were third coming into the weekend.
But they shoot a lot, too.
They do. Yep. They haven't tonight. Davis, his 6th 3 of the game, tying a career high.
They're running stuff for him now, and Illinois has got to be aware. He got it going in the first half, and I thought they'd lock him up or at least try to. And Davis getting free again here in the second half.
How did Washington get this down to 7? Akachonis. And Boswell with a strong offensive rebound, and he draws the foul on Courtright.
take a look at this play.
Fouls on the Huskies, number 12.
He's in the middle of the floor. It's like a single where he can go either way. Gets out. Boswell gets hit by the screen. Maybe Davis's cleanest look of the afternoon.
A season high 22, career high 3, career high 6 made threes.
But Washington has to stop putting Illinois on the foul line. Get stops without fouling. Or maybe not.
Under 8 minutes remaining here in regulation.
Well, now it's 7-point game. Washington can play however they want. They can slow this thing down if they want. 3-possession game. And going to this guy.
Great Osobor. In on Johnson. And he'll go to the line. A groan from the crowd as that didn't go down. Well, if Illinois is going to get a sweep of its first Pacific Northwest road trip on the afternoon.
And a big reason why. Uncharacteristic Illinois, 5 of 21 from behind the three-point line, but UW 8 of 22 in large part because of the 6 that guy's made.
Great Osobor, meanwhile, at the line, shooting 2 free throws. The foul, and he misses the first. The foul that he drew was on Morris Johnson. Was the first foul committed by Illinois in about 10 minutes.
But I'm sure Danny Sprinkle at that last time out was saying, look, guys, we're doing great. We've cut it to 7. We have to try and get stops without fouling. You know, Illinois may miss some free throws, but you don't want to keep giving them attempts. Let's see what happens here.
Yakachonis. Stuck. Humrick House. And it is off of Yakachonis.
Washington has just kept Illinois uncomfortable from behind the line all afternoon. Everything's been contested. They've had some clean ones, but sometimes when you don't get going good from behind the line, it just continues, and that's what's happened. 5 of 22 now from 3. But
that
still with a 6-point lead.
Illinois, a team that makes 10 a game, which leads the league. Made 19 the other night, or 16 the other night against Oregon. Osobor gets it back. Humrick House doubles. Osobor bullies in and draws the foul on Ivicic. And that's number 3 on the Illinois big man.
He's a load to move out of there, Osobor. And so he gets it. He's probing. The stunt comes from Humrick House, and then he reposts even deeper. Spins off. And Ivicic has got to just stay vertical. You don't need to block it when playing any kind of defense, but post defense, just get him to miss.
Osobor's been 1 of 2 at the line in each of his 3 trips before this, but he makes that first one. And the second.
Unbelievable, a 4-point game. Comes the crowd. Who's going to step up and make a shot for Illinois? Might be this guy.
He hasn't scored in the second half. Gibbs Longhorn, no, and Osobor fouls Yakachonis. His 3rd foul. And back to the line go the Illini. And 2 free throws coming.
Fouls on the Huskies, number 1, Great Osobor.
I mean, he got the foul, but I thought Gibbs Longhorn should have gave it back to Yakachonis. Probably would have had an open layup.
Yakachonis hasn't been at the line yet today. He's 9th in the Big Ten at 87% on the season. Looking for his first points in the second half. 10 all came in the first.
Tell you what, Washington has done a really good job on him today. Speaking of being a little bit uncomfortable and out of sorts, I don't think we've seen the best of Yakachonis, but here's what great players do. Tight game on the road, 6:42. Pretty sure he's going to have to have something to say about the outcome of this one.
Both free throws, and now Boswell's going to come back in for Gibbs Lawhorn. "17-point Illinois first half lead, 11-point halftime lead. Zoom Diallo downhill."
So athletic. What the body control of Diallo. Looking for contact, didn't really get it, still able to finish.
Boswell on the other end.
He's come. Made basket by Washington. They come right back at you and score.
Diallo into Ivicic.
Good defense that time. Stayed vertical.
Humrick House. Now Trey White. That's tough. Trey White's got 15.
A couple turned down threes on that possession from Illinois, but led to that ISO for Trey White.
Diallo gets fouled by Boswell.
Not in the bonus yet.
6th team foul. It's the third on Boswell. They dry up the floor here. Take a moment. Everybody catch their breath. Now, Trey White is having one heck of a trip.
Seems like the scouting report, he's not at the top of it. Yakachonis is. I think getting the benefit of it. Frank Kepnong out there doing a little floor duty.
The injured Husky.
He must be close to getting back. He got out there pretty fast.
He did look good, didn't he? That'd be a great sign for Washington. DJ Davis. Oh! He is on fire! His 7th three.
But you can't lay on ball screens. You know he's got it going. He's coming off with the ball in his hands. Illinois defender laid on that screen. Wide open look for Davis.
A career day. Ivicic. And White answers.
Good ball movement, Illinois.
And Brent Underwood's going to take a timeout.
I'm sure to talk about that high ball screen defense on the other end.
DJ Davis.
8-8, and that's what Illinois is about now. Yes, they want to win the Big Ten regular season, Big Ten tournament, but it's about getting to a Final Four, trying to win a national championship.
5 minutes to go. DJ Davis has 7 threes, the most for a Big Ten player this year, the most of his career.
They need 1 or 2 more from him.
Tyler Harris defended well and still scores.
The size of Harris over the top of Trey White. 5-point game again.
Zoom Diallo guarding on Yakachonis. Great matchup. Yakachonis makes that look easy.
Diallo's been all over him most of the afternoon, and the heads-up play goes back to Yakachonis playing at his own speed, gets Diallo in the air, gets the step-through finish.
And they get the ball to Davis. Yakachonis knocks it away, and then Boswell hits it out of bounds. 15 on the shot clock. Look at Yakachonis on the other end.
Diallo is in good position this entire possession. Chests him up, gets back to him, and then the ball fake. Not an easy shot either. That step-through floater. Not easy, but he gets it to go down, and a big basket for Illinois to push it back to 7. A lot of wet spots here in the second half, guys.
Guys been diving on the ground. When you dive in the first row, you're liable to hit a drink, too. Davis, look at this move, but it won't go down.
Don't mind it, though. You got it going like he's had all afternoon, and you like that shot.
Boswell right downhill. And a flex.
Good timeout by Brad Underwood. 2 buckets in a row, 2 stops.
And now Washington will take a timeout as Illinois tries to build his 7 threes, the most made by a Big Ten player this year. It happened 5 times all of last year in the league.
Don't need a 3 here if you're Washington. You'd like one, but don't have to have one. But you got it on the other end. Washington's got to string together some stops here. Down 9. See where they go.
Illinois, they've not shot the 3 well in the second half, but it doesn't matter. You see that note. The last 23 points have come in the paint or at the free throw line.
Awesome boy.
It's court right, and he swishes it.
Shot. Didn't think that's the guy that would be knocking it down from 3, but a huge shot to make it a 2-possession game.
His second of the day. Yakachonis sees the size advantage and then creates for Boswell. His 6th assist, and Boswell's got 12 all in the second half.
About the awareness of Yakachonis where Boswell was, and then Boswell, the intelligence to catch it in the air and finish it. He brings that down. He may not finish it or have to go to the line to get the points.
Davis, Asabor, and he scores. And Washington will take another timeout. Power conference to average 16, 5.5, and 5. That's incredible.
Still plenty of time.
1 timeout left for Washington, 2 for Illinois. Humrick House can't hit the 3. And Asabor can't corral the rebound.
What a play by White. That may be the play that saved the game for Illinois. Now they can run some clock down.
Yakachonis, a step back 3, and it's out of bounds.
Too quick. Didn't get to his plant, dig into that plant enough, and came up way short on that 3. Got another wet spot.
Well, that's where half the players on the floor were diving for that loose ball. It has been raining all week, but there are no leaks in the building, Don.
No.
This has just been a hard-fought game. It's an old building. You never know.
See where Washington goes here. White on Diallo. No, Boswell.
Asabor the screen. Diallo. Court right. Just hit a 3. Slips. Keeps his feet.
Nice job by Humrickhouse not to foul him there.
6 boards for Humrickhouse today.
I'd say Illinois, as fast as they play, it may not be going so fast here. Shorten this game a little bit.
Nevicic. And a foul from Yakachonis going over the back, his 3rd.
Not a good foul. Stops the clock and puts UW on the line. The way this game looks here with 1:38, Illinois is going to have to make some free throws to put this one away.
DJ Davis, 1-and-1 opportunity, was the best free throw shooter in the nation last year when he was a 95% free throw shooter. And he makes the first. 26 points, 2 shy of his career high. 7 of 13 from 3. Off of the bench. Washington has never led in this game.
4-point game. Now Washington doesn't need to foul, but they need a stop. See how far Illinois takes this down on the shot clock.
The crowd rises. Trey White.
Good kick out.
Evicic won't have it go down. Boswell goes flailing. It's out of bounds to Washington.
I mean, they have had good look after good look in the second half. Illinois just have got nothing to go down from three, and then Boswell crashing up in the air as momentum takes him out of bounds.
As good as they were from three on Thursday night, they've struggled that much tonight.
It's not like they've been bad shots either, guy. They have had good looks all second half.
Davis inside with the finish. It is a one-possession game. Davis a career high 29 points. And this place is roaring. Illinois led by 17 in the first half, 11 at halftime.
You want to know how the Danny Sprinkle era is going to go here at Washington. Going to Thursday and today. Even if they don't win this game, the fight they've shown to come back all afternoon. Davis has been spectacular. And they got a chance to win this thing now.
They beat Maryland here on Thursday. Maryland was 12th in the net rating. Illinois enters 22nd in the AP poll, but 5th in the net rating. And Washington undeterred, led by the career highs from DJ Davis.
They can get a stop here. They can go back down and tie or take the lead with a three, but got to get the stop here.
It hasn't been this close, Don, since the 17-minute mark of the first half.
There's Illinois going here after the timeout from Brad Underwood.
Trey White inbounding it, and he throws it away. Cartwright tracks it down, and this game is tied.
"20-second differential shot and game clock, so Washington will get it back no matter what."
Yakachonis gives Illinois the lead back.
What do you do, Guy? Do you go for three here to win in front of this home crowd?
You take a timeout and draw it up. That was 1927. Illinois hasn't been back in Seattle since. Danny Sprinkle, his first year at Washington, knocked off Maryland on Thursday. And here's DJ Davis in the midst of a career day. Davis attacks, has it knocked away by Trey White. Down to the floor they go. It's a tie-up, and the ball goes to Illinois on the possession arrow.
I like the no call. It looked like that hand got in there, and it was all ball. That wasn't a foul, but Trey White again on the 50-50 ball. Remember, he got this one on the offensive end.
Right.
And that one, watch this. It looks like he's got a lot of that ball. And Illinois now with a chance. If they can inbound it, be strong with it, Washington has to foul quickly.
14.6. All the Washington players signaling to each other to foul when it comes in. Trey White's going to inbound again.
Go for the steal and then get a turnover. And then foul.
Yakachonis is the one that gets fouled right in that tight corner. It's a very good free throw shooting team, Illinois, on 76% as a group. Yakachonis leads the way. He's 87%.
Washington, no timeouts. So a lot's going to depend, obviously, on what Yakachonis does here at the line. He makes both. In Illinois, they can go down and let him score, basically.
A lot of Illinois fans here today. They're on their feet. All the Husky fans here doing the same.
Two shots much different than 1-and-1 in this situation.
The young phenom from Lithuania makes the first.
Big one here. I'm sure Danny Sprinkle talked about what would happen if it was a three-point game or a one-possession game with no timeouts coming back down this way. So they already should have something in place.
Clutch free throws. It's a 4-point game, and Brad Underwood will take his final timeout.
Roll it up the court to save the clock, make him pick it up, and then get away. Even a three doesn't hurt you here as long as you make him use a good chunk of this 12.6.
What a great day this has been here in Seattle. Here's Davis. 7 threes for him, but he goes in for the quick two, and he got it.
Now you're going to have to make free throws again.
White looking to get it in. Gets it into Boswell, who's fouled right away. And Boswell, another of the very good free throw shooters for Illinois, walking down to the other end.
Now it's going to become, based on what Boswell does here. Hasn't been good today, 1 for 4. But again, 2 shots, much different than 1 and 1. Now, obviously, if he makes, that probably seals it. But if he misses, does Illinois foul? I would.
You would.
Especially, I would anyway, but I would based on how the second half has gone. Not going to let DJ Davis or one of those guys make a three.
Doesn't matter. Boswell makes both. It's a 4-point game. Illinois coaches instructing everybody to back away.
Let him shoot it. But why are you even close to him?
Davis heaves it. No contact, and Illinois survives the first trip to Seattle since 1927.